There are fighters who are exciting. There are fighters who are talented. And then there are fighters who make you stop, rewind the footage, and ask, how is nobody hitting this guy? Shakur Stevenson is in a category that very few boxers ever reach. Not because he knocks everyone out, not because he's the biggest puncher on the card, but because when you watch him fight, you start to realize that everything he does, every step, every punch, every small movement, is connected to a system that almost nobody at his level can solve. And the more you understand boxing, the more impressive it becomes. Today, we're breaking down exactly why Shakur Stevenson is one of the most complete boxers on the planet right now. And by the end of this, you'll never watch him the same way again. Welcome back to the Fight Archive. Reason number 1, his defense is at an absolute elite level. Let's start with the most obvious thing, and somehow still the most underappreciated thing about Shakur Stevenson. He does not get hit. That sounds simple. But when you actually look at how little clean punishment he absorbs compared to other fighters at the top level, the difference is remarkable. And it's not because he's running or holding, it's because his defense is genuinely that good. He operates with 3 tools working at the same time. The shoulder roll, which lets him deflect punches with minimal movement. Constant head movement, which means he's almost never in the exact same position twice. And elite distance control, which we'll get into in the next section, but which is the foundation that makes everything else possible. Reason number 2, his distance control is basically a superpower. If you want to understand Shakur Stevenson, you have to understand distance. Most fighters think about distance in a general way. Am I close enough to hit, or am I too far away? Shakur thinks about it on a completely different level. He knows exactly, not approximately, exactly, how far away he needs to be at every single moment of a fight. And that number is almost always just outside his opponent's reach. Watch what happens when his opponents throw. The punch travels, it reaches full extension, and it misses, sometimes by inches. Not because Shakur made a huge movement, because he was already standing in the right place before the punch was ever thrown. He did the work beforehand.
He always moves out in straight lines. You know, occasionally he'll turn the corner. You see, again, he moves out in straight lines.
The result of this is almost cruel. His opponent commits to an attack, misses, and is now extended, off balance, and wide open. And that's exactly the moment Shakur counters. He steps in, lands clean, and steps back out. All before his opponent has even recovered. Round after round, that's the pattern. Opponent misses, Shakur scores, Shakur disappears. Distance control at this level isn't just a skill, it's a form of ring intelligence that takes years to develop. And Shakur has it in a way that very few fighters ever truly master. Reason number 3, he chooses precision over power. Every single time. Here's something that confuses casual fans when they watch Shakur fight for the first time. He doesn't always look like he's trying to knock you out. His punches are sharp and fast, but he's not always loading up for the big shot. And sometimes people misread that as a lack of power or aggression. What they're actually watching is something far more advanced. Shakur throws to land clean, not to land hard, so to land clean. There's a massive difference. A punch that lands perfectly on the right spot at the right angle does far more damage than a wild shot thrown with twice the power. He understands that precision is the multiplier. Get the placement right, and the damage takes care of itself.
These shots are really sweet from Stevenson, and there's some aggression in.
His accuracy reflects this completely. He consistently connects at a high rate while other fighters are throwing big and missing big. And there's another huge benefit to this approach that people don't talk about enough. When you're not gambling on every punch, you're not taking unnecessary risks. You're in control. The fight goes at your pace, on your terms, and your opponent can never quite find the moment to change what's happening. Shakur doesn't just win fights, he manages them. And precision is the tool he uses to do it. Reason number 4, his fight IQ is among the best in the sport. There are physical fighters and there are thinking fighters. Shakur Stevenson is both, but what really separates him from almost everyone else is what's happening between his ears. His fight IQ is exceptional, and what that means in practice is this. By the early rounds of any fight, he has already started building a map of his opponent, how they move, what they like to throw, what they do when they're uncomfortable, what they reach for when they're desperate. He absorbs that information in real time and adjusts, often without his opponent even realizing a shift has happened.
Just a beautiful thinker in the ring. He processes boxing like nobody's business. And look at him right now, boxing.
The best fighters in the world are pattern recognition machines. They see something once, maybe twice, and they file it away. The third time their opponent does it, they're already countering before the punch is halfway out. That's not reaction, that's anticipation. And anticipation is built entirely on fight IQ. What makes Shakur particularly dangerous is that he does this quietly. There's no dramatic shift in style, no sudden change in tempo that signals he's figured something out.
And as Shakur covers up, absorbs those punches, and then places a left.
He just starts finding the openings a little faster, answering moves a little more consistently, until his opponent realizes, usually far too late, that they've been completely solved. Reason number 5, his footwork and positioning are always one step ahead. We already talked about distance control, but footwork goes beyond just where you stand. It's about how you get there and what position you're in when you arrive. Shakur's footwork is defined by something that beginners always struggle with, and experienced fighters spend years perfecting. Small steps. Not big, dramatic movements. Small, precise, deliberate steps that keep him balanced, keep him in range, and constantly shift the angle of the fight. Every combination he throws is followed by a position change. He attacks, and then he's somewhere else. And the new position he moves to is never random. It's always the angle that makes his next attack easier and his opponent's next defense harder. The result is that his opponents are constantly chasing something they can't quite catch. They think they have the angle, they commit, he's already moved. They adjust, he's moved again. This is footwork being used as a weapon, not just as a way to avoid getting hit, but as an active tool to manufacture offense and deny his opponent the position they need to be dangerous. Reason number 6, his composure is one of the most underrated things about him. This one doesn't show up in any stat. You can't measure it with numbers. But if you watch enough Shakur Stevenson fights, you start to notice something that sets him apart from almost everyone else. He never panics. It doesn't matter what's happening in the fight. It doesn't matter if his opponent is pressing forward, if he got caught with something clean, if the crowd is against him. His tempo stays the same. His expression stays the same. The pace of the fight, his pace, stays exactly the same. This drives opponents absolutely crazy. When you're in there trying everything you have and nothing is working, you want the other guy to react. You want to see something in his eyes or his body language that tells you you're getting to him. With Shakur, that signal almost never comes. He just keeps doing exactly what he was doing, with the same patience and the same quiet control.
Snapping right hand.
What ends up happening is the frustration transfers.
I mean, how deflated mentally must Teofimo Lopez be right now?
That's what defense does, Todd. It takes the fight away from the fighters.
His opponent starts pushing harder, and the moment they abandon their own game plan out of desperation, Shakur is right there waiting. Composure isn't just a mental asset. In Shakur's hands, it's a genuine tactical weapon. Shakur Stevenson is not the most exciting fighter in the sport if you're measuring excitement by highlight reel knockouts. But if you understand boxing, if you actually know what you're looking at, he might be the most satisfying fighter to watch on the planet right now. Because what he does is genuinely hard. What he makes look effortless is extraordinarily difficult. And the level he operates at his age, is something that should not be taken for granted. Watch him differently next time. Watch the distance. Watch the head movement. Watch the composure, the footwork after every combination. The way he builds a picture of his opponent in real time and starts answering moves before they're even fully thrown. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. If you learned something from this video, drop a comment below, hit the like button, and subscribe. And like always, stay dangerous.